the one, the only, Ben Sion. Good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube Daily Double. Today we're doing Shekalim, Perak Aleph, Mishnayos Dalet, and hey, Mishnah Dalet says, Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Heid ben Bukhri bi'avna, Kol Kohen sheshokel eno chota. Anyone a Kohen, we talked yesterday in Mishnah Gimel that we're not mamashkin in the Kohanim. We don't force them. We don't take a mashkin and a kolat out to force them to give the machzah shekel. Do they have to give it or not? So this Mishnah discusses that. He says any Kohen that gives the shekel, eno chota, he's allowed to give the Kohen. He doesn't have to. He's allowed to. Right? He's basically telling you the chiddush. You might have thought that a Kohen gives it, he's giving it, and he's retaining it for himself. And when he brings the korban hatzibur, he brings the tmidim. He's the one bringing the tmidim. He's doing it from his own money and not from the tzibur. That's for the entire tzibur. No, really, he gives it over to be part of everyone else. Amar Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, Loki al kol kohen she'eno shokal chota. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai says no. The correct version of this is that a kohen must give the machzah shekel. El shekalim dorshin mikra del atzman. The reason in the kohanim, some of them felt they didn't have to give the machzah shekel. They said v'chol minchas kohen kol lo tiyeh lo soichal. If a kohen brings a korban mincha, he doesn't offer the komas on the mizbeach, right? You offer the entire thing on the mizbeach because it's not eaten. A minchas Yisrael is eaten by a kohen, and minchas kohen can't be eaten on the kohen, so therefore the entire thing is on the mizbeach. If we contribute to these things, all the korban tzibur, so the korban omer, which is a korban tzibur, the shtei alechem is a korban tzibur on Shavuos. Lechem aponim are brought every week is a korban tzibur, so therefore it belongs to us. How could we eat it? Some of the korbanos are meant to be eaten. We can't eat korbanos, just like we can't eat korban mincha that we bring. We can't eat if we're part of these korbanos, we can't eat it. And some of these things are eaten. The korban omer is eaten by the kohanim. The shtei alechem, the korban is eaten by the kohanim. How could it be? It must be we're not mechuyev to bring a machzah shekel. We're not included in the korban tzibur. But this is a mistake. The mistake that they made, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai says, and the truth is that they are chayiv to eat it, and there's a difference between them because by a korban mincha, that's their own korban, but these korbanos are shutfus. They're together with Klal Yisrael, so therefore they could eat it, and that's the difference. We'll talk more about the chiyuv of the kohanim and Ian Mitzion next year. Hey, aval pisha amro mashkin nashim avodim ktanim. Even though we said we don't force women and avodim knainim and ktanim to give the machzah shekel, hanachri v'kusis shaklu in makabel miyada. I'm sorry, im shaklu makabel miyada. We could take from them because technically they're part of Klal Yisrael. Hanachri v'kusi, a non-Jew or a kusi, someone who's a kusi, uncouth person, sheshaklu, they gave machzah shekel in makabel miyada. We don't take it because it's a chiyuv. It's a chiyuv to be part of the korban tzibur. As the Mishnah continues, anything which is a chiyuv, a zav or a zav agdola, they have to bring korbanos, or yoledis brings a korban, or a chatas or asham, you bring your chayiv to bring a korban. Non-Jews are not; their korbanos are not accepted. They're not part of Klal Yisrael. They're not chayiv in the same sins as Klal Yisrael. There's no parsha of zav or chatas or asham by them. And a kusi are not part of Klal Yisrael. We consider them to be, according to some opinions, to be Gary Arios. They're not complete Jews. They're uncouth people. So they're not chayiv in these korbanos. We don't bring their korbanos for them. Then darim and adavos makal miyan. However, non-Jews and uncouth people, we would accept nadarim and adavos, which are basically free goodwill offerings. They just want to donate. They have goodwill. They like the Beis HaMikdash. They want to donate something to the Beis HaMikdash. Anything which is not necessary, they're doing it of their own goodwill. You are makabel from non-Jews and by kusim, because it says in the Torah ishish to include even goyim. Everything which is obligated to bring, we're not makabel them. When the Ezra went up to build a Beis HaMikdash, a lot of the kusim, they wanted to give things to donate the Beis HaMikdash. So for Bedek HaBayis, for things that were donations to help rebuild the Beis HaMikdash, they did accept. But the end of the pasuk, which is not quoted in the Mishnah over here, it says, "V'lachem en chelik v'tzedakah v'zichron v'Yerushalayim." Things that they wanted to bring as part of a chiyuv, they're mechuyev to bring. Those were not accepted because they're not part of Klal Yisrael. They're not part of Klal Yisrael. They are and they're not. I mean, they're partially part of Klal Yisrael, but they're not. And at least regards to things which are chayiv in, they're not chayiv in most mitzvos because they're chayiv in the mitzvahs, but we don't give them the same. We don't offer them the same means of kapara, like a chatzas and asham, or a zav and a zav yoledis. We don't offer them kapara because they have removed themselves partially from Klal Yisrael based on their uncouth activities We'll talk a different time about what the kusim are. I hope you enjoyed today's share. Stay tuned for Iyam Etzion, where I add on to what I talked about yesterday in Iyam Etzion, and I sort of bring a proof for the Rambam against Ravadia Bartanura based on Mishnah Dalet. Iyam Etzion coming up next.